Thank you, Karen. Yeah. So that's the key to it all, is the inconvenience of the immediacy of all of the things that we have in our mind versus what's important for the future, all that power of setting up the future. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get after this. I'm going to bring up a screen share. So I did want to make one point with that, which is, Jill, what did you see? What have you seen now in the transition points that are decision points? You begin to kind of see inside their head, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I see how he's watching me to see what I'm doing, like, yeah. And so I'm trying to not make eye contact, like I'm trying to use the peripheral and but be cognizant of what they're doing. I never looked at him the whole time he was doing this, but peripherally just being cognizant of what is he watching me to do. And so I mean, I have done it in with feeding, with getting their collars on to go out the front door, to go, out the front door. So it's definitely, it's much calmer than it was 8 weeks ago, but I'm noticing more of just I guess the check-ins sort of.
Yeah. Well, there's communication now instead of just demand.
Yes. Disrespectful to force a dog to do what we want. I was reading all the notes that I've taken, and I really am grateful that we can go back and watch these, because I think sessions 1 and 2 now, where you were going into the anatomy and the history, will be really relevant for me now that I've been through this, to kind of go back and get that refresher.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that one of the major elements that I really love about the online course. I was very reluctant for years to do anything online, frankly, because it was okay, how do I transfer this? I'll just use the word energy, this intent, to people online versus in person, when I can immediately, see something, point it out, help them, etc. Well, in ways, this is actually much better than the in-person for that sort of thing, and then you can review it. And that's something we can't go back in time. If I added 3 days to the 3-day, we could review all of the videos of people working their dogs, but that's not what's going to happen. So this is actually a great format. And, I'm asking my people to start teaching in their localities this course locally. And that way I can sit at home and do Zoom classes, and I don't have to travel all the time. And I can actually work on more advanced things again, which I've got to get to. Probably, well, most of you guys don't know where I'm going with the Institute on this. A couple of you here probably have heard or know or are involved, but my intent, besides the trainer certification aspect, which is the people that have received that trainer certification, relationship-based trainer, I've known for years and years and years. I know their character. I know that, and I know a lot of you too. I know what you do, how you do it. I've seen you train dogs. I've seen you work with clients. We've discussed things for years, etc. So, but the next group of people to receive that it isn't just going through the classes. There's also a practicum, if you will, of I need to see this many videos of you working with a dog. I need to see this many videos of you working with the humans and what you say and how you say it, et cetera, et cetera. Because frankly, it's not just the technicalities that matter. It's your character that matters. And I'm not going to certify anybody that's a jerk. I don't care how good they are at forcing a dog to do something. I'm not going to certify anybody that's, I'll use the word jerk. You guys can fill in the blank for other stuff. Okay. And there's a lot of those out there, unfortunately. There are a lot of arrogant, mean people. I don't want to be around those people. So, and it's not about me personally, it's about the reputation as well. But the next stage of things is actually being a canine behaviorist, a certified canine behaviorist. And that's even more difficult down the line. And it needs to be, not because of outside influence, but because of a deep level understanding, literally understanding biology and what you're working with to a more deep level. I don't expect very many people to achieve that or pursue it, even care to pursue it. But it's something that I think is needed in the canine world. And we're going to sort through it. It's a high level. It's like a graduate level university thing. So, and it needs to be. So anyway, that's where we're going with the Institute. At least that's where I want to take it. So let's get on with this. So I thank you guys for participating in this. This has been a great class, actually. I've enjoyed this. We haven't had as many. I mean, there's some people here that are auditing, if you will, reviewing, because they have requirements to do 4 of these classes of this particular class. And so I'm going to ask, let's see, Laura, I'll just pick you out since you're sitting next to me on the screen. So what do you, okay, so I'm requiring you guys to move on to, to even get to class 5, to have 4 of the class 1 under your belt, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that requirement at this point? I don't even know how many you've done.
This is my 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. It would have been my 4th, but one was canceled last year. So here's the thing, though. Even though I've taken this twice, this is my 3rd time. This is the first time doing it through Zoom. I feel like I've gotten so much more out of this class than I did the other 2 classes. Because I like the fact that I can go back and watch things, and then I can rewind and watch it over and over and over. It's really helpful, especially with people who need more of a visual learning method.
Yeah. So
helpful. And each time I do this class, I pick up something new that I may have missed from before, even though the content is pretty much the same for each class. There's still going to be differences because you have different people involved doing different things. So I think that this is super, super helpful.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, when I made that requirement, I saw some eyebrows go up. Like, what do you mean we got to do this 4 times? But this is the reason, because, and this is the foundation of understanding. That's what this class is. This is the foundation that you move forward from. It's like in martial arts, the first kata, the form, in other words, that you learn, you are going to practice that from then on. You're not going to leave it behind at some point when you learn advanced kata.
Mhm.
You're going to continue learning that. So in fact, you do that over years, you do that hundreds of thousands of times versus the ones that you're working on 10,000 times. And you end up learning more from that kata to base everything else upon. So that's, my background in, 52, almost 53 years now of martial arts. The learning process is the foundation. And that's what it's, the process. And you never give it up. You never stop. If you stop learning, you're dead.
Yep.
You're dead to it, to the subject, to yourself, to the world. So these guys that think they've got it and know it all, everybody else is, crap, as they say. So use other words.
Mm.
They're dead to the world. So,
Mhm. Yep.
sorry, I don't want to go on a tirade with that. So we'll leave that there. So, okay. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it. Anything else, any other insights here for everybody else?
So even, there's a lot of information given in this one course here. I would highly recommend going on, because just the things that you're going to learn from this, so different from any other type of training or method. And I think it's just a more detailed, in-depth learning of the dog's brain, its body. Typically when, you're learning different techniques, this is not the stuff that you're learning. This is the details of everything that's going on. So it's not generic. There's a lot of generic training out there. This is, and not saying that you shouldn't go learn other techniques, because you should. This way you can kind of pick and choose what works for you. But this just takes it to another level, is what it does.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't about me. It's about understanding. It's about learning, guys.
Right.
So I used to call myself the gap filler, but I found that it was actually just the filler. It's not about the gaps, because the gaps are, here's this system, here's this system, here's this system, and they're missing all of the rest of this. So it's not a gap, it's the whole.
Yes.
So,
agreed.
Yeah. What the expectation of those is that over that 40-year time frame, you're going to use it over and over again enough, and you start making mistakes and bumping into these different things and have to figure it out for yourself. So I thought, well, why? And most people don't, frankly. So why not present this to everybody, the stuff that 40 and 50-year trainers have been through and understand? Why not present it to everybody so that they know it from the beginning? At least they understand it exists. They still have to have the experience, and that's why that's why you can't take. I don't run a quote unquote dog training school. You're not going to come with me for 3 months and sit there and go through a class and be graduated and go on. That's not what this is about at all. You can't possibly understand to the level that it takes you 4 or 5 years to get through the first 5 courses, plus other stuff if you want to. You have to have that time in between to go work that. So that's the point. And the reason we do it in sequence and the way that we do is it builds upon each one of those things. Because if I went to here, the gap between here and here it wouldn't make sense. So anyway, Okay, enough about that. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and let's, oops, share screen here somewhere. Oh, let's not do that. Okay. So let's go back up. Okay. Oh, when I did these videos, both my dogs, I mean, the connection we have, the understanding, all of that stuff, what you saw was a very fast thing because their minds are already going fast and with me. I didn't have to take much time to try to communicate to them. So they're already on it. So when I said, please don't think speed is the purpose, it's because we got it in that time frame, even though I'd never done this particular exercise, especially with Callie before. So, and she got it instantly because our communication is already there. So if you need to take a little more time and pause, please do so. But you know, you saw the result. Again, I'd never done this with Callie. The first location that we went to, she didn't know which scent I was asking for. So she gave me a sit and I went ahead and it's like, okay, I'm confused. What do you want me to do? I just patted her, I rewarded her, and then I took her to the second scent. She found it and then we rejoiced together. I was like, yeah, okay, got it. So, okay. Do you want to look at that? Do you need to look at that? Yes, no? Okay, no. All right. Dasha, you're up. Okay.
I'm with you, Dasha.
Thank you. We have a second dog, Jack Russell.
Okay.
We tried to do the same thing with him also.
Okay. And how did that work out?
You can see.
Oh, okay. I have not looked at any of these. Remember, I don't look at these before. I want that instant impression. I want you guys to see through what I say, what I'm looking at, how I see dogs, how I see the human and dog connection. Okay. So when you hear me comment on these, it's first time as if it's just, you know, happening live for me. Yeah. Hang on. My wife's coming in to give me sustenance to survive. I don't get lunch. I don't get lunch on these days, so I have to have something to drink here. So
The connection will.
coffee. Okay. So
Sometimes we think that Cosmos Jack Russell wants to be good boy too much. Yes.
what do you mean by that? Explain.
He wants to do something for us and don't know what to do exactly. Maybe like this.
Okay. Okay. So as your ability to communicate with him changes, and your even look, if you change 10% of how you communicate and connect with that dog, the dog changes because it begins to understand you. It feels more comfortable with you. Mm-hmm. So, you know, imagine changing from 2% communication, which is about where humans are with the dog, to 10% communication. It's like a human. Say there's a human laying in a hospital bed, and the only way he has to communicate is to blink his eyes. And all of a sudden, he gets a hand able to write stuff down. Change in communication there is massive for that person. And that's the way the dog feels about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let's review this. Nice. Really nice. Good job. Yep. Yep. That's why you have them on leash. Need them on leash. Okay. And again, going to the wrong side. Very nice. No, that was nice. Did you see that look?
Взгляд видел?
Okay, so went right to it. That's beautiful. Right below your hand. That's perfect. Now, right there. Look at that. It's like, yeah, I got it. Aren't you going to pat me? But it was also the connection. It's like, yeah, and look. And then he goes, yeah, I got it. He was showing you again. Look at the brain of the dog and what he's telling you. He goes, okay, I got this. Yeah, look at that. Is that what you
Я
want?
понял.
Yeah. And then
Ты
right
этого
there.
хотел.
So he's going, yeah, I got this. He wants more. In other words, he wants more of that connection. He
Yes,
wants more. He
he
wants more of the
often wants more.
appreciation. He wants more of the appreciation.
Mm.
But it's not. Imagine being isolated in a world of different animals than you.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you make connection in a different way and how you want more of that. See it from the dog's point of view, always, always, always. Okay. Nice. Okay, that's pretty advanced. First of all, again, you want all dogs on the correct side. All the scent should be on the opposite side, so you can draw the dog across. So this is pretty advanced that you're walking along and he's instantly knowing and looking for, this is what we're doing. This is the mission. And that's the intent you want to get across. We're walking, but we're going to find. So he's, look at that. He's already, yeah, going for it. The second you start going down, he's following the hand. That's beautiful. That's nice. That is pretty. Yeah, your dog makes you look like a rock star. Good job. All right. Yeah, look at the happiness.
So he's happy, yes?
Oh, ecstatic. Look at that. He's like, yeah, pat, pat. He's going, here's the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a happy dog right there. That's the connection. Now imagine, again, imagine you're living with animals that are intellectually superior to you. They communicate in a completely different way, maybe even telepathically, who knows, okay? And you're trying to make connection with them. And whenever you look at something, they put their tentacle over your eyes so you can't see it. That's what we do to dogs when we ask them to go on a walk with us. They sniff something and we pull them off of it. And you just keep walking. So they're smelling everything, but they can't really look at the detail. They can't find where it is. That's like you not being able to use your eyes to really focus on something to understand it. And the first time they ask you to actually look and read something, the joy you would have. And so that's what's going through this dog's mind, because the nose is everything to them of understanding. So when you ask them to actually sniff something and then you reward them for it, I hope you begin to understand how important that really is and what kind of what kind of a connection would that have then with that other being? It's like, you know, it's beyond happiness. It's an internal joy. It's a, you know, that release of finality. So anyway, that was very good. I don't have much to say about that because it was good.
And if we do it, we sniff with them something on the walk, and he become more and more excited what to do.
Slow it down, go further between, make the walk, make the walk the purpose, and you just find the scent. Okay. In other words, you just happen to find the scent. Now he's going to get excited at that moment, but if you just go for a 20-minute walk and you find 3 or 4 of these scents along the way, then he is in a walk mode mentality, not about getting excited about that. That's how you do it. Okay. Okay. Different dog.
And Nelson, that's a scent, 3 to 4 scents. It's not like just finding scents. It's your scent that you're planting on that like 20-minute walk, or can you just play it with any kind of scent?
You can, once you get that understanding. I do it all the time with my dogs. I'll go point something out. They'll go over and sniff at it. You know, pat, pat, good boy, good girl, whatever. And then we go on our way. They know if I point something out, I'm sharing it. It's something of importance, so that it doesn't necessarily excite them that there's a particular scent there. And what happens is generally, you know, if say I'm out on my property and I go point out a spot that I know deer or coyote or somebody's been there for something, and I'll point it out deliberately, you know, they'll all go sniff in that spot and they'll go, you know, pat, 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 let's go. And they all come with me. They will find the next spots for me and point them out to me. So you can use them as detection devices. If I find coyote scat, let's say, which is the poop, and I'll point it out, they'll sniff it, and then they'll go find it on the rest of the property.
That's great.
So
Thank you.
And do you have independent time when dog is doing its own?
yes. A lot of the times when we're walking, I mean, some of you guys have probably been at the center on my property when I've had my dogs, one or more of my dogs, and we just walk around and they're off leash. They just go with us, and, you know, they go sniff something, find something, and that's fine. So yeah, they've got free time. We travel together generally like a pack would. So as the leader, they're going to come with me regardless of what other distractions they have. So we'll walk along, you know, the road, and the rest of us talking may go out 50 feet, you know, sniff something, jump around, etc. But they always come back and check in. So, and I think, Laura, you experienced that in the old course 4 you guys just had, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with Bosch. I had Bosch there, who's puppy brain, you know, but he still has that connection. So what did you see with him? And I think, Anthea, you were there, weren't you?
So a lot of puppy brain going on there, but when it was his turn to work, he worked. So, you know, he knew the difference between the two. Absolutely. And he did his job really well, considering he's still young. But yes, as a pack, we would take walks, and, you know, he would go and frolic a little bit, but he always checked back, came back, especially with you, Nelson, because he loves you to death.
Yeah, well, feelings mutual. So,
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Okay, all right. Yes, it's not about control, it's about connection. Period. The deeper the connection, the less control you have to have. And, you know, while in the city, you want to have a leash connection simply for safety. So dog doesn't get startled or, you know, run out between two parked cars and get hit by another car, those sorts of things, because they're, you know, they don't expect things like that in their lives. Matter of fact, sad to say, yesterday driving to my center and about probably 3/4 of a mile away, so a little over a kilometer away, on the side of the road in a ditch was a dead Great Pyrenees that had apparently gotten hit by a car, because out in the country they just let their dogs, their country dogs, they just let them roam around, and that's what happens to them. So even out in the country where there's not much traffic or anything like that, they still get hit and killed.
Can I say one more thing about control? I feel like the more that you want to control anything, regardless of what it is, the more management you're going to have to do. Because control, when you want to control something, it works against you. So that's where the relationship comes into play. They do it because they want to, not because they feel they're being controlled. And of course, that's where management comes in.
Yeah. And where does wanting to control come from?
My mother. No.
Okay, we went deep in that one.
I think it has a lot to do with it's a learned behavior. You know, people,
it's actually, so wanting to control outcome is a fear. And
yes.
it's about the uncertainty in yourself.
Yes.
So it's about fear of what's in your head.
Fear and ego has a lot to do with it.
Well, ego meaning self, it has everything to do with it.
Mhm.
But ego being arrogant has nothing to do with it.
Right. Yes.
Because there are many ways to try to control, which includes very subtle manipulations all the time, tiny little things that certainly humans do to try to control others. So that, you know, and why do you want to control? Well, you want to control the outcome. You want to have a known outcome because the future's scary because you don't know it.
Right.
It's all about, yeah. Every question goes back to survival. How does that particular entity, that dog, that human, see survival for it? How do I survive best? Well, I survive best if I control everything. That's impossible. No, you survive best by controlling yourself and gaining as much experience, knowledge, strength, speed, all the other things as you can possibly do through your life. That's how you control outcome. And you don't care what others do because you have the tools, the management, the mentality to be able to survive and thrive in any outcome. Okay.
Yeah.
Nelson, I would also say just now, you know, in the last 10 years, the fact that everybody is so incredibly busy. They just want it to go the way they want it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so busy that they're like, I just need to control this so I can get on with what I got to do. And so I'm seeing a lot of that with my customers, that they're just so busy. And so it's more of just helping them. Like, if you're in that state, don't do it right then. That's not the time to do it. Wait till you find that space and time so that you can decompress and then do it. But I'm just seeing a lot of that now, more than what I saw earlier.
And with trainers too.
Yeah.
Business, everything. It's like, well, I don't have time to do this. I got to be on this schedule. You have to make time with that individual dog and that client. You have to make the time, because time now, investment in the time now makes it easier for you throughout the future. If you don't address it now, just like the door thing, Jill, if you don't invest the time now, it will cost you more time, 10 times, 100 times more time in the future. Okay. So now it's like the theory of economics. Money now is always worth more than money later. So anyway, okay. Thank you guys. Great discussion. Okay, so we have back to the different dog, back to the original dog. Okay. So what's going on here? Very nice, nice, nice. Okay, I would take just a little more time with this dog. I'd take a little more time in place. I'd give a little bit more, almost reassurance for this dog rather than reward. So the pat on the back is more of even just a lasting touch. So in other words, pat, pat, and then leave your hands there for a second just to make that connection and then go. Okay. Because if you watch, it's not quite enough for this dog. It's like, you see, and that look how it's going, but. Okay. Look how it avoided you to look back at this spot like I didn't get enough. Well, what didn't they get enough of? The dog got the scent, and it wasn't about getting more of the scent. They know that. It's about I enjoyed the moment on that of me using my nose and you connecting with me. It wasn't long enough. That's what your dog's telling you right there. Okay. So now let's go back and look at it in this context. Pat, pat, pat. It's like, but I enjoyed that. Why are we leaving? Okay. Concerned about that. See, this dog needs that additional time of reassurance on the moment, in the moment. That helps with confidence. Not necessarily in itself first, but with you, that connection. Okay. So let's look at, I want to go back a second here. So, okay. So where's your arm? Okay. So yeah, go review these things again and watch your own body.
Yes, I know that you point this.
Okay. So yeah. That okay. So you're kind of leaning over this spot too. So let's back up a second. I know it's hard to do this, guys. It's not easy, but okay. So look where you're leaning that way, aren't you? Okay. So you're asking the dog to come under here. So that's partially why. So you're actually pointing this direction. So the dog's looking that direction with your body initially, and then the hand goes there. There you go. And what got the attention? It wasn't the hand, it was the sound.
Sound.
See it right there. Pat, pat, pat. Okay. So watch when the dog actually looks that direction. Did you see it?
Yes, sound.
Yeah. Also, look, it's almost an annoyance. Look at the ears. And then, so it was a get out of my way. I'm focusing back on this. Watch for a second. Right there. You see? The ears went like that. And then it's like, you know, but this is over here. There you go. And you kind of backed off right there. If you watch. So you got out of the way a little bit, which is why she was able to come in. Okay, so be very careful on being parallel, not over that. Okay, this is good for everybody to see. Let's go back and review this. Watch where your body is pointing. This was good. There was nobody around. Actually, that was really good because you pointed to the spot. The body and everything pointed to the spot right there. See it? Okay. That was good. And then a little longer. Don't be in a rush to leave. Now this one didn't concern him or herself with this person at all as you walk by. That's what I wanted you to see here. So 2 people walking, the one closest to, no concern. If you look at the body here, no concern whatsoever. You were controlling, you were in here, you were controlling the conversation between what the dog could see with this person. So you protected your dog there. But when you went in here, then it was the pointing was towards that direction that entire time. Okay. I'm pointing this out to you so that everybody else sees. Right now you're pointing at her. And the dog, if we could see the dog, is focused on this because as it comes into frame, it's still focused over there. See it? Okay. And yeah, that was a good reset. Did you see it right there? So it was the sound.
Yes, I remember it.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to point it out to everybody, not just you. Sorry. I'm not picking on you. There. Look at that. Look at that. First pow and then there. And it's like, oh, okay.
But hasn't it also to do because the other person was in the exact moment of the sound was also going into the door? So it was kind of coincidence.
It was relieving that tension by that person going inside and the dog knowing in the future it's going out of the way. Yes. So we talk about having to meet or match and just above whatever level the dog is at. So the dog's mind is at this level. What happened was the sound may have been here, but because the person was going through the door, now the level was down here. So you got the attention of the dog. Am I making sense? Am I explaining that well enough, guys? So in other words, if the dog's anxiety, its tension, its concern is up here, and we do something down here, we're not going to get the dog's attention. If that tension level, because of what's going on out there, comes down a little bit and we go to there, now we've got the dog's attention. So you got to be real aware of where that dog's brain is. If this didn't work, you've got to get here if that tension stays the same. Okay. You do not want to go here because now that's the expectation of the dog and now you've got conflict. So you find that spot that is just above where this mind is focused. Okay. So I wanted to point this out too. Okay.
I know that you're not picking up on me.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want you to misinterpret. I'm trying to share this with you. Okay, so you're aware of what's going on. Now you stepping in already. So you're claiming that spot from the dog. So you're saying back away. What were you thinking in that moment as you came forward? Do you remember?
Actually, she liked, it was fish smell. She started to lick it.
Okay.
So I wanted to stop it and go away.
Okay. So what I would say is you're already here present. And when you stood up, you're actually relieving that pressure saying, yes, that's yours. Do what you want with it.
Mm.
So instead, stay down there and back the dog off, or get the mind back on you by this, by patting the dog,
Mm-hmm.
by rewarding the dog. That's why it's so important, that timing of when they smell something and then immediately, yes, because the brain is going to go right back up to you when you go, yes, and they're not going to be able to lick or anything else because the brain is on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with you, I should say. Okay. So yeah. So now what did you reward the dog for there? That's a real catchy thing right there. So as you
For conflicting me, yes.
yeah, so it's a back and forth. It's back and forth like this. The signals are back and forth because you're backing her off, and now you're starting to reward. So the dog is going, if you notice, kind of stays there, like, and it wasn't about licking or smelling. It was about, at that point, that becomes that dog's possession.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only object in the world that it's focused on. So that becomes that. And as we move towards it, the dog backs off and goes, well, I thought you liked me to be on these things. You asked me to come in here. So there's a lot of back and forth of, yes, no in the brain of the dog as to what's going on. So, and that's part of the fine tuning of doing scent work is, no, we're not going to lick it. We're going to smell it. I'm going to reward you for the smell, not the lick. So what I'm saying is, it's not bad sometimes that there's confusion, because in confusion now we have a back and forth. And now the dog, the next time, is going to learn more. That's going to stick in its head. Instead of saying, I've got this, now it's going, I'm uncertain. So the next time I'm going to focus on what it is you are agreeing with versus not agreeing with. Okay. Does that help everybody else? Okay. So please don't think that confusion is always a bad thing. Confusion means I'm uncertain about something. Now the focus is going to be higher unless you confuse and frustrate a dog or frustrate yourself. That's where I say, don't ever get frustrated, because it's always the next opportunity to teach. Always. Everybody makes mistakes. Okay. I beat that dead horse. Okay. I understand why you did that. Again, I'm going to point out, don't have your walk path, and I'm talking about generally, don't have your walk path go straight to the scent. Try to walk parallel if you can. And I see you couldn't here, so I'm just pointing that out. Very nice. Oh, don't pull away. No. Okay. So sequence. That's beautiful. That's perfect to there. Then you start moving in. I know you were afraid of licking. The way you get the mind preventing licking is to immediately go, yes. Pat, pat, pat. That's how you prevent the licking, not pulling away. See how everything you're doing is to prevent that. So you ask the dog to go in and you're saying, no, don't do that.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. That's all right. That's why you're in the class, to learn. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then what did you reward the dog for? Being pulled off. So now the dog is going, okay, did you enjoy me staying there and you having to pull me off and going through, or are you rewarding me for just going away from it? Timing matters. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Please don't be embarrassed at all. This is difficult, guys. This is an advanced thing. Okay. Says, I don't want to walk through that snow. That was great. Okay. Okay. That was good. Thank you. I appreciate everybody putting themselves out there. And like I said, everybody makes mistakes, guys. You know, you guys can look at stuff with me and criticize me too. It'll hurt my feeling, but no, I'm kidding. Good, nice. That was, so what'd you do there, Stace?
That was me.
Oh, awesome. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This went a lot better this time. When I did this, we had little like scent containers, and maybe also because they were on the ground, and because Tulsi was a street dog and tends to put her nose straight to the ground, it was just quicker to got her attention a bit faster that way. It was really clear when she got it as well.
Yeah, it was, but what did you do right there? She was looking over.
Oh yeah, I waited a bit more for her this time too. I waited for her to kind of.
See, the hand being there didn't mean anything. It was when your hand went back up and down that she goes, oh, that's what you want. So watch. Hand goes up there and then down. Notice the down motion is very emphatic. It's very forceful. That's when you got the attention and goes, oh, that's what you mean. Because where did she go when you went forward? See, look where my mind is. Yeah. All the way already over here. Okay. Nothing down there. So then we have to recommunicate, and patting, nothing else. That didn't work. Okay. It was only when you brought your hand way up and then that emphatic down motion, boom, that got the attention. But remember, the eyes are for motion and profile. Mm. Okay. So when you think about that motion, when you get the dog, I want you to see that split second she looks at your hand or looks when you came up. If I can catch that. There. See it? Hand came up in front and then immediately went down. Boom, there you go. It's looking for the motion. Okay. You got to have the mind on you. I'm pointing this out for everybody. Okay. Let's watch this again. Watch it in real time. So looked down for a second and then said, no, that's not what you indicated. You know, we were going this way. Bam, there it is. Beautiful. Good job. Just step through the next time. So make it a rule for yourself to walk between the dog's head and the scent. Okay, just that's part of it. That's what you end up with. You walk between the dog and the scent. That's controlling the conversation. It's ending the conversation for the dog. When you walk the other way, it leaves the dog with still owning that, knowing it, wanting to be on it when you're walking away and pulling the dog away. I want you guys to understand that. If you walk between, you have ended it right there and said, we're going. Okay. So there's no lingering doubt what you're communicating. That's why we walk between the dog and the scent. Okay. I want you guys to be successful at this. Nice. Good, good. You know, see the difference right there?
Mhm.
Okay, let's go back to the first one. And again, I'm pointing this out to everybody. Watch your dog as you walk away. Okay, a little confusion.
Mhm.
Okay, it's like, okay, what are we doing? Yeah, okay. And if this was first and second scent, obviously that goes into it good. But right there, it's like, okay, see how clear that was?
Mhm.
Okay. Don't just say uh-huh if you don't, or if you disagree. We can have a conversation.
Yeah, it was cool to see because when I was trying to do it in my front yard, and I don't know if there's just so many other urine scents around because I live in the city. Although I mean, there's a ton of urine scents there, but we maybe just because it was different territory. But it was just like, you know, very clear when she got it, so I was able to just move forward quickly.
Yeah, yeah, good. Boy, she's looking now.
Yeah. she's gotten me back to trails in the snow where we've lost trails. She's a smart cookie.
Nice. Good job. Okay, so on that second one, you didn't, so in this third one,
Mhm.
you didn't want between, but it was unnecessary at that point because you'd already communicate when I move on, let's go. There's another one, there's something else. So that's where you can toggle back and forth once you do communicate and it sticks with the dog. In other words, you were clear enough to say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. I want you to be in the habit of walking between the dog and the scent. But in something like this, that was very clear because of the last time it was clear. So watch. As soon as you went, dog goes, okay. There was no conflict, nothing. Because it's a husky. It's smart. Now, whether it agrees with it or not, that's the thing with huskies.
We've also been doing a lot of work with directionals
Very
and
nice,
trying to
very
get her
nice.
heel. So
Yeah.
she's also one that she understands directionals from up front, so she tends to want to move forward. So I've been doing a lot of dance walking to kind of keep her trying to
There's
guess
that
where I'm
arm.
going.
That was going to be
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah.
Question to you, Nelson. When the dog wants to
Yes.
pull ahead, what do you do? Like my dog knows heel, but he definitely likes to lead sometimes. What is some suggestions to get him back to me?
Be more relevant.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sorry. I mean,
No,
seriously.
it totally makes sense.
And that is again, that's what I say, the cumulative value of everything you do with your dog, mean to your dog, around your dog, it all adds up, all of it. And you know, I honestly, when Bosch, for instance, forges ahead of me a little bit, I don't care because I know he's going to check back with me and place himself again. I just don't care. You know, I'm not doing a competition. I don't need, I don't need that perfect heel. Could I train a dog to do that? Yes. I just don't have any reason to anymore because I don't do competitions.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to impress humans.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So here, I want you to watch the dog the entire time. Look at this. Now, so from here, watch. Yeah. What are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? So that's the type of excitement you want, not the overall, just explosion of stuff. It's that engagement of we are working together. We're on a mission. That was beautiful. If you see the excitement at all, that's what you want with your dog. Yeah. It's like, okay, where? And then look, just calmly goes back into the normal walk. It's like, okay, I'm joining you. It's not this, release of energy to go find something. It's the recognition of the dog with her. She joins her pace. That's nice. Something's over there. She's saying, hey, something's over there. I said, yeah, I got that. I got it a long time ago. That's what she's saying. Matter of fact, let me watch here for a second. So I'm trying to see. Now you were kind of in the way. So the dog's looking at probably urine spots and stuff like that. I know you know this. I'm talking to everybody else. Animal urine, animal smells are going to be more interesting and more important to the dog than the scent that you're putting out. So be careful where you place these things. Corners of buildings, especially places like that. Animals love to urinate. That's a perfect spot. I can tell you right there. Dogs have peed or, right there. I don't even need to know your area at all. But these corners, bushes, stuff like that, these edges like that, that's where they go. Or they go, mice or rats will go under the little building, stuff like that. There'll be, little animal trails that you can see too. So that's always going to pick things up. That's where when I go out with my dogs, I can see the little trails that animals do through brush and stuff like that. And I'll point it out for them and they'll go sniff it all. So it makes me more relevant to them that I know what's going on and I'm pointing things out to them. So I take those opportunities. Okay. Finally goes, okay, I've satiated myself. Yeah. Okay. There it is. He goes, yeah, I knew it. So that's your dog is teaching you level of importance in that. She's saying that's important. Something over here was important. Yeah, there's something over here. Okay, so that was number 4 in the importance level for that dog's brain. If you watch it, 1, 2, looking over here, 3 over here, and then 4 finally. So that also tells you that, and that. And this is typical Husky too. 3rd time. So we got it 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4th time. Nah, I've done this before. I'm going to go find my own thing. Right? Yeah. The way I tell trainers with Huskies or those primal instinctual breeds is you do something 3 times or 5-minute exercise, and then you go do something else. And then you come back to it later, after a couple of minutes or whatever else, and the re-engagement. That's a good example right there. Yeah. So that's more important now. No, something over there. Okay, there's something here. Okay, I'll finally go to it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, she does the same with the next one too.
Yeah. She's already told you I got it 3 times.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that became too easy. So once your stalker fell. Okay. Yeah. This dog could go advanced pretty quickly. Did you bring her? Who? No, you weren't there.
I brought her to the leash workshop, I believe.
The leash, but not the nose work. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, both my dogs, my other dog's really good at nose work too, but she was a street dog, so she is very
Gotcha.
nose centered. And I mean that was her survival. So she's pretty. Yeah, I've done follow the dog in sound in the city, and she's brought us to trash cans, dumpsters of behind restaurants and stuff. Like, it's just.
So yeah, so dogs like that, I'm always interested to see what they're telling me, what's important to them. That way I know how to reach them too better. So they're going to show me what level of importance things are in, it's so if you look at the continuum of nose, eyes, ears, and you do it in that way, if the nose is engaged, there's a sense of safety or in that moment. If the eyes are there, it's a potential threat or a potential prey, we'll say. So it's that uncertainty with the eyes. The ears are involved. There's something that's generally out of view that gets their interest. And whether they turn to look or pay attention to it tells you whether they've encountered it or not and whether it means anything to them. So if you look at those continuums, you can gain a lot from the dog. So what's important to it and what its experience is. It's not just a matter of what's important. It's what is that dog's experience with the environment, period. How comfortable does it feel? How uncomfortable does it feel? Street dogs are very, very savvy because they've encountered a lot. So, yeah. Okay. All right, Stacy, this is you now. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was looking at the name down below. I didn't see something going on above me there.
So I'm trying to figure out how to walk through with him. So you'll see I stutter step through it because I still need to practice it.
Okay.
And I don't want to hurt him or scare him or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just was going through my mind.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to point this out, well, to you, but not really to you, to everybody else. Okay. Which is watch. This is what I mean by the control. Now that's okay. You're trying to keep them from stepping in front of you there. I understand that. Relax though. So there's a difference, guys, between pulling, because you're going to get oppositional response, and a communication of, hey, tap this way. Because the difference between tap this way and tap this way, they understand. Okay. So and this is a constant, whereas this is contrast. Okay. If you have this and you continue pulling, the dog has to have, there's a time period of figuring out what it is you want. When it's this, there's no doubt what you're asking. Okay. So the little taps are much more effective than you constant, and it takes a relaxed arm and hand to do this. That's the point of the relaxation. So if you're relaxed and you go tap, hey, over here, then you communicate. The next time you do that, the dog goes, okay, you want me here. Versus this, when you're going to get opposition because you're trying to pull the dog off balance. And so it wants to regain its balance. So now you're having this, you're having an opposite thing of what you really want. So that's what I'm trying to let everybody know is when you do use a little tap, a directional tap down, up, or sideways, or just a back. It's like, hey, slow down. Okay. So leash is a communicator if you need it in those moments. But what you're really trying to communicate with is all of these other things. Okay. Now here, so right. Okay. You actually didn't do that. Good. What most people do is start pulling the dog towards it, and then you don't want to do that. So that was good. Okay, so the dog here, let's look at where the dog went. Okay. I'm not fussing at anybody. I'm trying to point some things out. So right there is when you should turn. Right there. Right there. Okay.
Gotcha.
Actually, half a step back.
Okay.
And instead, and look at the direction of the dog. It went 180 degrees. It went from here to here to here.
Yep.
Don't make it that difficult to begin with, especially with dogs like this.
Okay.
Make it a 90 degree, boom, right straight in.
Okay.
Okay. Good, nice. That was okay. Yeah.
Yep.
First time it was uncertain. You know, you're not trying to kick the head in the dog, the head of the dog, but sometimes it takes that because there you go. See, so what do you see here? Well, let me tell you what I see.
Okay.
So right there, dog focuses, gets rewarded, says, I like this, I'm going to stay on it. Dog is still on it, and it takes contact. That was good. And that was perfect. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that on a first, second, even a third time to get the point across. So you made contact with actually this leg. You stepped right up to the head, and he still went, nah, I'm going to stay on this because I like it. Watch right there. Yep. It's that second one right there, that leg in the body that he goes, okay. Okay, I want you to, okay, here's what I want you to do. This is your assignment, Stacy.
Okay. Yeah.
Relax that arm
Okay.
and let it actually swing a little bit.
Okay.
You know your arm's relaxed if it swings back and forth when you're walking. And
Okay.
guess what it does? It also puts limits on the dog. Because if I'm swinging back and forth, I'll do it this way. So dog goes forward and I just swing my arm naturally back and forth. Guess what? It gives that dog this zone. If it goes forward, it gets that tap. So it stops going forward. If it kind of hangs back, it gets the tap this way, just of you naturally swinging your arm back and forth with a short leash.
Okay.
So just a nice relaxed, like you do your other arm, not as far as your other arm. You just give it, that much instead of that much of a swing.
Okay.
Okay. So that's an assignment for everybody. Experiment with that.
Okay.
You'll have to let me know on Telegram afterwards how this goes. Nice. Okay. So again, you're right in line with where you wanted the dog to go. So instead, let's get back. That's okay. I mean, we're learning. So let me see if I can. Yeah. See, you went way past. Should have turned when you were right here. To bring it in. If the scent is right there on that face of that, you need to be here. The dog needs to come into that. You're asking the dog to go around you when you go straight into something, you're saying, this is mine. So if I go parallel and say, hey, come, I'm sharing this with you, you come straight in.
Okay.
So now dog has to go underneath your head to get to it, goes around you. So this is this sets up that dominant controlling thing with human dog, where human says, this is mine, come in, I'm demanding you do this. I'm giving you all these signals, this is mine. I'm going straight in, I'm leaning over it, and I'm still forcing you because the dog doesn't want to. I'm forcing you to go underneath me to get to this. So then it sets up a really odd situation. Imagine a dog coming in over something and then another dog coming in underneath it to get it. Not going to happen, right?
Right.
Because this dog's going to go, "Arr." So that's the oddity that, so then all of our signals that we're doing in dog language, and we still force a dog to do that, the dog goes, okay, you're confused. You don't really mean it. I don't respect you. All of those things happen. And then the uncertainty happens. And then we get into this back and forth rather than a cooperation. Okay. So that's what's important about these exercises. Okay. Here's another thing I'm going to give all you guys an example of and an exercise in the future. We were already there. Okay, going away from this, instead of pulling the dog over there, you were communicating with your hand, communicate with the free hand first.
Okay.
Okay. You will find you're using the leash a lot less if you communicate with the free hand.
Can you explain that a little, Nelson?
Nice. Yes, go ahead.
The communicate with the free hand. I just want to hear that, what you mean by that. Sorry, Stacy, I don't mean to interrupt your video.
Oh, no,
Okay,
that's fine.
she crossed her hands over, she had the leash in this hand needs to communicate, hey, other side. So behind you, you can indicate a sweeping motion so the dog will start going that way rather than you pulling the dog around behind you. So the dog sees that hand going and they start going that way. And then you end up going, yes, this way. Okay.
Thank
so
you.
Practice those types of communications. They'll start relying on those motions. That's what I mean by the detail. If you can't always use body direction and everything else because you're both going the same way, right? You just have the dog on this side and you want it on that side. So you ask it to go over there with the hand rather than pulling it over. That's respecting the dog, that it has the right to be anywhere, but you're just asking it to be there. Okay. And so with the free hand, if I ask it to move this way, now I'm getting the cooperation of that partnership. And they go, okay, and come over to you. Okay, there's just a ton of less conflict. This was really good. And again, this dog was interested in that scent, which I imagine is probably urine first, but came back to you quickly. See right there, that same spot that the husky did. And that was beautiful right there. So this spot is very difficult when you plant a scent like this. This is difficult to walk between the dog and that. So what I usually do is ask the dog, after patting, ask the dog to come back with me. That was nice. That was really nice. That was beautiful. And that's a perfect example of getting the dog's mind with you by the reward. And if I need to use excitement or vocalization or patting my feet or something to get the dog back to me, that's what I'm going to do in a spot like that rather than using the leash. Okay. Yeah. There's that pull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little shorter leash. If a dog's in front of you like that constantly, look at the length of that. See, I'd have my hand about right here. That way, just swinging back and forth. It doesn't need that much space. You're walking together. Okay. And that way it learns that cooperative heel position, not the competition heel position. Okay. And I will tell you this out of a lot of experience. If you do the cooperative heel position, which is, that much leash with the hand just kind of swinging back and forth in a normal way when you're walking, and the leash goes tap, 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 and it teaches the dog that position. It's a heck of a lot easier to start teaching that competition heel from this range rather than this range. Now the dog gets the concept of walking beside you already, just as a natural event. So teaching a perfect position, that's a lot easier. Okay, so
I didn't quite catch that jump.
okay, so tell me what was going through your mind here. Right at this moment. Do you remember?
I'm trying to find because I had a little canister there. So I was trying to look and find the canister, and I could tell that he was already catching other scents. Like his nose went down. So he was catching other things that were happening rather than just like participating. And he might've been bored at that point because he's like, I figured it out. I know what to do. And so for me, it was two things that was going on. I'm trying to find that thing and the scent. And then I'm also trying to get him to kind of move forward with me.
Okay, because I saw a lot of confusion in you right there. In other words, you were not focused on my intent is this, boom, this is what we're going to do. There was a lot of, in your mind, you were uncertain because you had several things going on in your mind. That's what I'm seeing here.
And there's a vertebrae of an animal right to the left that we didn't catch. And so all this is like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh my God. So yeah. And I didn't see that when I laid the trail, which I should not have done.
Gotcha. Well, and it may be, I'm wondering if the dog is smelling the trail scent.
Well, after I saw the sign, I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing.
That's what it looks like to me from right there. So
do you mean Stacy's trail?
I was going to ask you if another dog went through there or prior to, if someone had already been on this, because that's exactly what I'm seeing with the dog.
Pache went through this first, and then Jeremy and then me.
Oh, well, there you go. So this dog already caught it all. And yeah, you had 4 or 5 things going through your mind in a split second. And this is for everybody. What you've got to do is you've got to intake information only, but stay on point.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is how I do it. This is what I'm sharing with the dog. And this is what we're going to do, period. Otherwise, that muddling, that confusion that happens causes you to be uncertain, causes you to not communicate well.
Got it.
Okay. And that's what happened here. See, all that stumbling and everything else, you being slightly off balance there was a result of your mindset back, right here.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So when we're off balance mentally, it affects our literal balance, physical balance, all of that stuff in real time too. Perfect. I love these videos. This is beautiful because we can go over stuff. I don't get to share this stuff in live classes.
Yeah,
and this stuff is so important, guys. Just is. Okay. End result was good. The dog's got it. Goes, yeah, I know what I'm looking for. I already got the trail.
Yeah.
Idiot human primates. Yeah, they don't know anything. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Jill, you're up, lady. Whoa, already into a scent. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
I have to do these alone, so I don't have anyone, so I have to put the camera sort of right where I would be able to capture things.
Okay, you might find a squirrel that can, never mind.
I just had 4 toms in the front yard. That's why I kept looking, and
Gotcha.
I have been a little nervous because we have had some coyotes in the yard lately, but this was off on one of the trails we go into.
Just act big and mean and they'll go away.
Okay.
Good. Okay. That was a nice, I mean, just seeing the dog, that's a nice transition there. Beautiful. I mean, it's already looking for what you're doing and looking for. So again, good time to point out, when you change direction and your dog looks and starts curling that way, that's that contrast. Again, contrast is clarity, guys. So you go boom like this, the dog instantly, that's why the 90-degree and not some trail like this. You know, dog may do this if you're just kind of smoothly going this way. When you make a quick cut, okay, like in American football, a wide receiver goes out and he doesn't just sort of do this in a pattern, because that defender will be right there. But if he goes boom, he's away from that defender. He makes that quick cut. With this, when we make a quick cut, we're away from the dog instantly, and the dog goes, what's going on? So that contrast is very important. And that was excellent. So see how he goes. Okay. Beautiful. Very nice.
And I had to bump him.
Where was the reward?
Oh, he got it, I thought.
I didn't see it. There's not
Yes,
much
I
there. Yeah, not much there. Let me move this. I didn't see anything. Let me go back again. So, yeah, I'm not seeing anything. There's, okay, not enough.
Okay. Yeah,
Not
because I had to
enough.
bump him.
Bumping is okay if they stay around, but this is where, you know, both hands making it very clear. Yeah. You know, again, go back and watch what I did with Callie and Toffee. And, you know, the connection I already have with those dogs anyway, but I'm still making that contrast to get their brain on me in that moment, that instant, that stops them from the smell, the licking, all that stuff. Okay. And that's okay. A bump is a communication too. Nice. Good job. Yeah. Oh, nice check-in. Look at that. And that was a better reward sequence right there. Look at that check-in there. That was beautiful. Oops. Let's go. Oh, no. Let's go back. So watch these micro movements here. There. Yeah. You were already going. Yep. Dog check back. And was gone. Good. So the first communication on the first tree helped the second communication on the second tree. Good. That was okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Good. Okay. That's using your leg properly. A little touch or bump just to communicate when they're so focused on that, that's fine. So that's where if you can, again, the reward for the dog of being on point was here. Your reward was here, and it didn't break the brain from that. So it needs to go higher, and yes, more excitement, more instant. When you have a more confident dog, you're going to have to use a harder pat, touch, more voice, more all of that stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's getting there. Okay, let's see who we got. Jeremy. So the nose dog knows. knows. The nosy nose knows. He knows. He's already going for it.
I was about to say, he got him all pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a nose dog. Okay, reward, reward, reward. Don't just walk away. So now, okay, so without reward, then the dog wonders, well, why did you bring me to this? It loses the, again, I'm not fussing with you. So it loses the point of bringing the dog into that scent. It makes it, what you're trying to do, you, meaning all of us, all humans, is we're trying to make us relevant in their mind. So when we just point something out and they go over and we don't, and we just walk away, it must not have been that important. And therefore not as much important is put on that by the dog. It's a novelty to them, but it doesn't make that more deep connection with the humans of, yes, this is what I want you to do. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
I hope that explains it well enough. Yeah, I can already see the trail where others have, look, he's going, yeah, I got this. Where everybody's walked, I can see it. Yeah, there you go. Says, but I want more. That was good. Yeah, so he's going, got it. Looks up at you like, where's the reward? He was already faster than you at that. So yeah, with a dog like this that's just pure nose, you're going to have to be right on it that split second. Yeah. He goes, well, you were late. I'll give that to you. Yeah, these types of dogs that are just pure nose. You know what the reason they developed the long ears for these was?
No.
So it helps funnel that scent into the nose. That's what it's like a you know, what am I trying to say? It's like putting a funnel on you to funnel all that scent to your nose. And that's why the ears were developed to actually drag the ground when their nose is on the ground.
Wow.
So these dogs, you know, they have close to 320 million scent receptors in their head, in their nose. And so the parts of the brain that are important that we've developed, this scent detection we've made in these particular breeds, that important to them versus all these other little things. That's where we get the different types of working dogs. We make this important in its brain and its genetics versus this piece over here for this type of dog versus that. That's where humans have influenced dogs that way. So this is a nose machine. That's what it is. That's what it wants to do. Got it. Yeah, look at that instantly. Do you know there's no question, there's no lingering, no nothing. I mean, every other dog's kind of been, yeah, that's kind of neat there. And he goes, snap, got it. Found the source. And he's indicating to you, he's saying, hey, do you have this? Got it. Yeah, boom. He's giving you a signal saying, I got this. So that's really neat. He could be a detection dog. If he has the stamina, if he builds up, you know, the stamina, the drive, the desire, and the physicality, he could be a detection dog. Now he could detect in certain ways that were not physically taxing as well. Like, yeah, I smell it. Very nonchalant about it. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's where the hand signal would help. You kind of stepped on the other side of him. That's okay too, for that. It's not like he's got great mobility with those long legs. This will be interesting. Yeah. So if you notice where he kind of went first, let's watch. So see, he's going over there against the building again. All the dogs are going against the building because that's where they expect scent to be. And there is scent over there, obviously. And then he goes, oh, it's over there. Okay, got it. Boy, it's just like he just goes and passes. It's like, yeah, okay. That's great. I'd love working with him. He'd be great. Yeah, he's being careful about following that trail. Yeah. Okay. So maybe a little more reward, more excitement, a little longer on pat, pat, good boy, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, generally he made you look good.
Yeah, he did most of the work.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, you kind of had a cheat there. Well, that was good. That was fun. I love seeing working dogs like that work. That's his life right there. Okay. Who have we got here?
It's me, Marilyn. So again, I'm like Jill, I don't have anybody to record, so it's a small space, but
Yeah. Okay.
and my
That's all right.
butt's in the camera, so you'll see.
Okay. Finds it interesting, regardless. Ah, that's what he's doing. He's looking for the other scent. Good job, buddy. All right. That was good communication right there. That second one. So this one was, he's going, are you sure? Over here, that first. And he goes to there and he goes, oh, okay, I guess you do smell it. And then he goes right to that hand. So that was really good there. So the first one got you street cred, as they say. And the second one was very clear. And he goes, yeah, okay, yeah, you're pretty good, lady. That was good. Nice. And then, uh-oh, I can't see this one. Yeah. Got it. Okay. He got it. We are past it. There you go. Okay.
And then I have my other dog too.
Okay.
I just
Yeah,
figured
well,
why not? It was so short. Why not do both?
sure. So I know you guys have limited space. What I would do is make sure that if you're doing this on a somewhat regular basis and following that nose work protocol, spread those out to where there may be, 30 seconds to 3 minutes between each one of them as you walk. So it doesn't overwhelm and it's not real short segments. This is kind of a hide and seek type thing for this really short type thing. Knows where it goes into. I've got to refocus the brain on this. So in between times, we're just walking. And then, so it makes this the strength of you finding the scent more powerful when there's time between for the dog to forget about that. And then you go, hey, look at this, boom. Okay.
Yeah, I can do that on trails if I don't have to video it, so I can definitely separate it out.
good. Okay, yeah.
And that's my second dog.
Okay. Let me get this out of the way so I can see this first one.
She's super smart.
Yep. Got it. Good. And you waited on the dog to find the spot. That was good. Beautiful. Very nice. Okay, don't pat the head on these.
Oh, pat the body.
Go to the back. Yeah.
Back. Okay.
Okay. Pat. No, there it is. There, she found it.
And that was it. I
Okay.
do have a couple of quick questions for you.
Yes.
One is I
Okay.
really want to see a video where you use the sound, Nelson, because I still want to learn how to do that to get their attention.
Okay. Well, the 2 videos that I did, you should have been able to hear me say, find it.
Oh,
And
no,
then-
not to find it. Didn't you talk
Oh,
about
okay.
another sound for attention? Like a kind of just a sound to change the brain, or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Any type of human generated sound, snap of a finger, hey, cluck, cluck, cluck. If I can't get a dog on this going, over here, I'll make a different contrasting sound to get their attention back.
Okay.
Okay. Doesn't matter what it is. It's what you feel comfortable with. It's what you do. Okay. Doesn't matter what the sound is. It's what works in that moment. And different sounds may work for different things.
I think that's my question. So when you're walking your dogs, do you use sound to get their attention? Because, I have issues with the bigger dog because of the dog attacks.
If you need to, yes. Generally, if I'm walking around, if, I may go, hey, or, snap of a finger or cluck or something like that. If they're, 100 feet away and I need to get their attention, they can't. Sometimes the sharp sounds like the snap of a finger or clucking or something like that are more powerful than just talking, because humans talk all the time.
Yeah.
So they don't know to pay attention.
I think what I'm trying to figure out, and this might not be the topic for right now, is when he's reacting on my block mainly, because that's where the issues have happened. I'm wondering if a sound will get his attention off the dog and onto me.
If you practice it beforehand, yes.
Okay.
Not if you try to do it in the moment. If you give meaning to it, sound itself doesn't mean anything until it has a meaning. So you have to practice those things beforehand. If you have, I tell trainers all the time, you always meet a problem head on. And the way you do that is, if you have an issue, then you set up a scenario or an exercise that addresses the issue before you get to the issue again. So in other words, if you have issues around your block and stuff like that, practice at home getting the dog's attention, giving meaning. Trainers call it charging the thing, e-collar, leash, whatever. In other words, you're giving meaning to that. What does this mean? It means focus on me. And a lot of trainers will use a food reward or something like that. I don't. I give myself as the reward. In other words, the happiness, the excitement for the dog. It's not an ego feed. This is where I think a lot of, frankly, trainers fall down, because to them, when they make a dog do something, it's their ego that did it. And so they're happy because of themselves. Look at me type thing. That's where they fall down, because there's no connection to the dog. And so they get into this cycle of constantly forcing a dog to do things and thinks that's how to train a dog. And then dog goes to their home and it doesn't work there because those people are not that trainer. Instead of the connection is what dogs should seek. And so the meaning behind that sound has to be practiced before. And so the reward of just getting the dog's attention, the more I do it and the more powerful it becomes to the dog to connect to me, the more in that moment, regardless of what it is, the dog's going to focus on me. Because it's going to know, hey, pay attention to me. I've got this. Don't worry about it. That's what you're trying to get across. Okay. So when you snap, make a sound, it doesn't matter what it is. Again, I wouldn't clap because that, that's a startling thing. You don't want to startle the dog. You want to alert the dog. Hey, focus on me. But remember, especially in a heightened situation out there, wherever there is, you've got probably a quarter to an eighth of a second, somewhere in that time frame, to instantly go, come to me. Pay attention to me. Don't worry about it. You've got that eighth of a second between that signal and giving dog direction. Go back to my videos that I put on there with Callie and Toffee on the scent work. You see how fast I went. Find it, boom, the hand is there. It's that eighth of a second difference between the warning order and that. You couple those two things together, the dog has got absolute clarity of what you're asking.
Okay, I just have one quick question, and I'm so sorry, but thank you. So if I'm practicing the sound in the house, and I love everything you just said, when the sound he does what I need him to do with the sound, like just say paying attention to me, do I then do good boy and hit him like on the side, like good boy to reward him?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Initially, yes. Okay.
Great.
The dog needs to know that that's what the dog needs to know. You agree with stuff more than you disagree.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
Now it knows what you want and how to relate to you. Okay. What did I just say? That last sentence.
He needs to agree with me more than disagree. He needs to know how to relate to me.
No, he needs to know what you agree with.
Oh, what I agree with.
So that he can have an understanding of how to relate to you. Because a dog is still a dog. It's not an automaton. It's not a machine. It still has its own thoughts, regardless of what you do with it and how domineering you are. It still has its own thoughts.
So he needs to know what I agree with so he knows how to relate to me.
Bingo.
Okay.
Because you are the most important element in the dog's life and in their universe, unless you're not.
Yes, I know.
And they have to know what you agree and disagree with. You want to disagree with things 1/100th of the time, because where you want the relationship is they know what you agree with and they simply behave in that manner because it's better for you and them, which is the cooperation that we're asking for, the relationship. Not because you're human, but because that's a better relationship that you both can live with.
Okay. I do understand that. Because when the two of them get into it, listen, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's why I have no issue with people who teach their dogs tricks and all sorts of stuff like that, if they also focus on that aspect, but most don't. They just do it as tricks for the human ego to say, look what I made my dog do. And that's what I hate. I shouldn't use the word hate. Hate is a very powerful word.
Hey, Nelson, I have one quick question. You said to Marilyn not to pat the head, but the body, and I was just curious why.
okay, I'm going to ask you then, why do you think? What's the difference between patting on top of the head and patting the body?
Well, I wouldn't want someone patting my head, you know, with the hands coming in at the head.
Yeah, all of this. I mean, think back to that exercise that you guys did with human dog thing of approach and all that stuff. Okay. So you're not making a relationship that's respectful. You're making a dominant action over the dog's head, which negates a lot of what you're trying to do with the connection of the nose.
Thank you. This is that stuff I was talking about in the beginning. Going back to watch will help now that I've seen this kind of meld it more together for me. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is the stuff that I've been working for years. And when I started finally getting around a lot of other trainers, even old time trainers, I saw them do things, but they never explained that aspect, the respectful aspect to anybody else. And I'm going, why aren't you explaining this? It's what everybody's missing. And when I started teaching this stuff, then I'm hearing from the students, this is all new to them. They've never heard this. They've never seen this. Nobody else is doing this worldwide. And I'm going, why not? And as I've, been doing this for a long time now, I'm seeing and been exposed to thousands and thousands of trainers worldwide. I'm saying that they really don't get this, even they don't get it to the detail level that we go into and the reasoning behind it. They get it for what they do and how they do it inherently, I'll put it that way. And they're able to absorb in that split second and understand that they're reaching the dog back and forth, but nobody's really, unfortunately, focused on this. So, I got into this, I got into teaching to competition is a silly thing, frankly, because competition means you are trying to be better than someone else. I'm only want to be better than myself from yesterday. So, people misunderstood. I used to be interviewed, decade ago, and they'd say, et cetera, and well, what about this? I said, well, I don't have any competition. And they'd kind of chuckle, and some of them raise their eyebrows like, well, wow, you're sure egocentric. I'm going, no, it has nothing to do with competition, because nobody else is doing this anyway. I don't know why, but they're just not. And I have no interest in teaching things that other people teach you. Go learn that from them. That's fine. I don't want to waste my time competing against someone else to show I'm better than them at some aspect when they're already doing it very well. You can go learn that. I can spend my time teaching other things. So I have no interest in competing with people. That's silly, in my opinion. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's see, Rachel. Let's go back. So how are we doing with the dog, Rachel?
Don't ask. Terrible.
Oh, come on.
No, I was so yesterday. I was stressed anyway. No certain reason, but and then she was just not walking beside me. I was so pissed off, to be honest, with myself. And then, of course, with the dog too. So
yes, he is. Okay, so there seemed to be confusion there.
yeah.
Like, what are we doing? So, okay, so what I'm seeing with this dog is it is it's kind of like humans. It's in its own mind doing its own thing. And it's hard to reach this guy.
This girl, yeah.
Or girl, sorry. And well, guys and girls, you know. And so we have to work harder to be relevant to a dog like this. And that takes time with a dog like this too, because it truly is in its own mind, which that's kind of hard. It's really sad for this dog to be in its own mind and not make connections with others. So it has to, it's living inside of its own prison, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's where I always worked with dogs like that were in their own mind, and try to show them reality and bring them out, that it's safe to be out here and with someone else that you can trust. And that's really what you're trying to do. It's like, okay, I'm going over there. I don't know what you're wanting, but I'm going over there. I'll just sit because it's a wall, because I don't want you to slam me into the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to reach these dogs, but you know, it's also valuable to do so for yourself as well as the dog. Where was the scent up there?
It was on a plate, on a sign, on a do not park there sign.
Oh, way up
Because
there.
yeah,
Now
because
that's tough for a dog. Yeah,
yeah,
that's tough. So,
but on the other hand, you said we should not use it on. I didn't want to use it on the wall because that would pick on the,
right.
the scent. So
Yeah,
that was my decision why I made it.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be better kind of in this zone right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If there's something there. So I'd find something else. That's much more, that's more advanced. That's like 3 weeks of working this, 3 times per week before you get to that point.
Yeah, I did readjust, and at the end he got it, but
okay. Yeah, see, he sits, he scratches himself, he's confused. He doesn't quite understand. You're looking up, gets it there. Yeah, okay. Did he stick his nose up? I can't, it's kind of hard to see in that shadow.
I know, it's far away. Yeah, she got it.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's
so
why I
saw
got
a
her
little
away.
bit there. Okay. Yeah, see, this dog is just, this is what I call a dog in its own mind, which is basically what humans are all the time. So it's terrible for a dog to be a human, which also tells humans why we don't make connections. Okay. But you guys are you're getting the lessons here, which is the important thing. It's not whether you personally did everything. Okay. Phil, what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm trying to do scent work.
You're done. That was good. Okay. Okay. Look at that face. What do you see in that face right there?
He's not really interested.
Well, now let's go back and see why.
My exuberance.
It was the time on. Okay. So that was all, that's perfect to that point right there.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's okay. I wouldn't quite go down here towards the head, especially when they're leaning over. I'd be back up here on the back.
Okay.
Because that when you pat up here, what happens to the dog's brain? It goes back to the back here.
Wait, what? When you pat up close, his brain goes to the back?
No, when you're up here, it's still all right here. When you pat back here, the dog goes, what's going on back there? And it takes it away from the scent, but it leaves the memory of, okay, you touched me because of this. But then
Well, yeah, go ahead.
okay. And then instantly you're already knocking him away as you're still patting him. So what's that tell the dog?
I'm rewarding him for pushing him out of the way, kind of like.
Well, so let's look in real time how fast this all went from his nose on and trying to savor this and you going, yeah. See it?
Yeah.
See it now?
It gets worse at the end. I just know that he's gonna just lick into it and stuff, and he does at the end. He's
Okay.
just like, no, I'm staying here,
Yeah. Okay. So what we're anticipating is the conflict, and we're actually creating it because we are
Right.
anticipating it at the same time. So we have that conflict going in our minds. So it sounds like, and this is what it looks like to me, you're trying to prevent that from happening rather than rewarding and reveling in that moment of the scent. So your intent difference makes the difference in the dog.
Okay.
This is not trusting your intent. I hope everybody's catching that because everybody's kind of doing the same thing. A lot of the preventative things that we're doing, it affects what we do, how we do it, how fast we do it, all those things. And it tells the dog, I don't trust you. So we set up a lot of stuff that way when we anticipate, and that's what's driving us, is to prevent things rather than to reward in that moment, revel in it. I don't care if he licks, good boy, let's go. So a little more pause to begin with there. Try it with a different dog. Yeah, just learn from it, okay? This is where I wish everybody could go through that 4-day nose work course.
Is it okay for them to lick it?
You want to prevent it, especially if you have multiple dogs coming through. But in this case, it's not the end of the world either.
Oh, okay. If I would have let him lick it, he would have been like, woohoo, that's all he wanted to do.
Well, it isn't the point. The point is the nose,
right.
not feeding. Because and what I try to do is get especially trainers away from food reward in this case. And that's what the dog is used to, which is why they do that.
So like because I know that he's so food motivated, like crazy. Like when we did the first RBBM, everybody else was around the pond with their dogs and we were in the dumpsters. So knowing that about him, should I have used a non-food scent?
You can chain it. He may not get it. He may not get the purpose to begin with, but your excitement, your timing will make all the difference as to how important that is to you, which makes the connection with you and the dog.
Right.
That's what I mean by giving value to what you do, whether it's value to the scent, value to the sound, all those things. That's what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah, way too fast. Yeah, look, see the dog's even starting to move away from that, like, uh-oh. Just as you step in. So the dog isn't trusting you, isn't believing the reward.
Okay.
Right there. See, you're almost attacking him. See that? Go back through and watch him and how he does it. And that's why his face looks almost defeated Well, you asked me in here and now you're attacking me. Okay. Always look at it from the dog's standpoint. And go, okay, so, well, okay, I'm not, please don't take any of this stuff as negative. I'm just making observations, guys. Yeah, okay. So timing is way too quick to get off of it. So yeah, please do use another scent, a different type of scent. Try this, linger a little longer, give value to it and say, yes, this is important to me. I'm happy for you. Let's revel in this. Now let's go. And that way he won't feel attacked. If you look at how this was all set up now, I'm just trying to help you and that particular dog, because this dog is seeing it as, okay, I'm interested. Oh, that's great. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I guess it wasn't great. Now watch what he does. You go here, he goes, now I'm going over here. He wasn't even interested now because of the uncertainty. And you stuck with it and he came back over, but then same thing. It's like immediately off. It's like, okay, so look what he's doing now. Okay, so probably you're in there, you're in there. There you go. Good. Yeah.
And he got quite a few licks in there. He was just like, you know.
Yeah. Well, he goes, well, I got to get something out of this.
Well, I think, you know, part of the thing is I am very visual, and I like seeing the whole concept has been, it helps to see everybody else's videos, but like watching your video, it went so fast. And then going to, you said, don't let them lick. So like that sticks in my head. So I'm like, you know, so as I'm going through, I'm thinking it has to be fast. Don't let them lick, you know.
Well, and generally that's true.
Yeah.
You don't want them licking it because I don't want the mind to go from the nose and the olfactory and that part of the brain to the satiation of predatory action of licking the mouth, which goes to a different part of the brain. I'm not trying to satiate the predator. I'm trying to satiate this to connect with me.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things that we do in old course 4 and new course 3, and I'm emphasizing it a lot, is what parts of the brain give. Oh, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys something I don't normally do in course 1 here. If I can find it quickly, because I don't want to misquote. Don't go to sleep for you guys that are late at night over in Europe, please. While I'm looking this up. If I'm even looking in my correct manual here, my correct book. Where the heck is that? It's only a couple of pages. So I'm going to go through hundreds here. I apologize. Okay. I'm wasting too much time. I can't find that at the moment. But understanding that the very frontal part of the brain, the encephalon area, I can't find it. The encephalon area of the brain, the very frontal part of the brain of a dog's brain, it's a very large area, but it's what gives character. The character, the personality of the dog is in that part of the brain. And so that's what we're working a lot with when we're working with the nose and the character, the meaning, the value of the brain. When we go to the predatory part of the brain, we're almost going to the brain stem, to the survival instincts. And there's no connection other than to that inside the dog, not to exterior, because then predatory action becomes competitive, tearing that leg from somebody else so that you can run off and eat it. That's why it's so important to understand the difference between using nose and the mouth. That's why I don't want them licking it and having a food reward. I never use a food reward with a dog, ever. Okay, that's why. So yeah, for this dog, change, if they're very food motivated, or dogs that are used to being trained with food reward, which takes the human out of the equation, because they're no longer working with and for you, they're working for the food. So they'll manipulate you for food. Okay. Food is a tool, that's all it is. And humans overuse it because they're not relevant to the dog. And then it makes them not relevant to the dog. So, okay. So does that help, Kel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So just, when people who are training this food, they are claiming
I hadn't seen that. Thanks for that, Rachel. Just spinning around waiting, huh? That's fine. I'll get you back.
you true. No, just a question about those trainers who are working with food for rewarding, because they do say they build relationship by using the food. So, I mean, it's...
They do. It's what type of relationship are you building?
Yeah. That's what I tried to explain to you.
Everybody has a relationship. Everybody has a relationship with somebody else. What kind of relationship do you have? Is it abusive? Is it, I mean, relationship means nothing by itself. That's just a word.
That's true. Yeah.
And those, and they want to, you know, those that use tools or food or, you know, other thing, ball, you know, tug, all these things is the transference of relationship with you to an object, a thing, an action, or something else. That it has the meaning, it has the power and the value. So if you don't have it with you, you don't have that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
Whereas you always are, when you're around your dogs, it's always, you are the symbol of that relationship.
Yeah.
Why I don't use, I've never used food, I've never used tools or anything like that. I try to not use a leash as much as possible. And when I do use a leash, it's about what exactly am I communicating with the dog and why? Well, you have to be aware of it. Otherwise, you're unaware of what you're teaching the dog.
Yeah. I just realize how hard it is to people. If everybody just knows this kind of relationship through the food, then it's hard to explain to them that there is, or to reach them that they understand there is a different type of relationship possible. You know? I
know. That's the mission I've been on for decades. Yes, I know.
Because I was talking to someone, she calls herself an expert in, or whatever, very experienced with German Shepherds, and she's using food and reward and all this kind. And I said, well, could you imagine to reach a dog or to teach a dog without food? And she said, no, I can't. She always used food. And I said, okay, good. You know,
yeah,
so
because she is unimportant.
Yeah, she isn't.
That's the point. You remove the food, she's got nothing.
Yeah.
It has very little influence over the dog of any kind. It doesn't matter if it's German Shepherd, a Border Collie, a Siberian.
Yeah.
You know, a rat. I don't care what it is. If she doesn't have food, she's unimportant.
The
I
connection that I,
Who's the teacher?
the connection that I made is that it's kind of similar to like a parent that's not home much and just wants to reward their kids with toys and candy and like snacks. Like, yes, it's gonna spike those pleasure zones, but it's not really giving them what they want, which is more attention, more like consistency in terms of the actual relationship.
Yeah, give your 16-year-old son a brand new Ferrari. Oh, he'll love you for it. He just won't respect you in any way. And you'll be towing that mangled up Ferrari in about 2 weeks. Yeah, that's because that's how much it means to him. It's just a thing. Yep. It's a good way to put it. So, okay, guys. We've got, wow. We've got 30 minutes left. Let me go over something else, please. And then
Can
I
I-
want to. No.
I'm sorry. You did talk about thresholds.
Okay.
You
Okay.
did talk about thresholds, Nelson, and you said, remind me to talk about thresholds. And I know you did, I know thresholds pretty well, but I feel like you did touch it. I just want to make sure that there's nothing I'm missing on thresholds as well.
Oh, there's lots everybody's missing on thresholds, trust me.
Okay.
So, but yeah, let me move forward with this just to finish this part up. Not
And you can
because I
skip
have
it
to.
too. I just wanted to bring it up.
No. We're going to come back to a quick question and answer. You can do that. Okay. So I'm going to give you this. A lot of you already know this. Okay. I'm going to give you this. Follow the dog exercise. This is something that we do in our normal face-to-face classes, but it's not something that we do here because we don't have a group of dogs that in the 3 days that we've worked together become familiar with each other and frankly trusting of each other. Even the dogs that wanted to kill other dogs to begin with, they trust each other enough because we've been cycling through. We're on the third day, 72-hour period, the third cycle of something, and they go, okay, we get it. This is what this is here. And so they trust each other enough to make their own decisions to where they want to go and what they want to do. And the person simply follows them at the end of the leash or wherever. Person does not control them, does not indicate to them anything except for a safety situation. We don't want the dog running across a highway, so you simply stop. You don't pull, you don't direct, you simply stop. The dog stops, and then instantly, most people are amazed at how fast the dog goes, okay, and then just goes on rather than fighting them once they do this. Instead of that opposition response, they simply got a post that went thunk, okay, and then the dog chooses another thing, and there's no conflict. There's no big deal about going against the human. So the dog chooses it. So follow the dog is the game, follow the leader. The dog is the leader. Dog's in charge. You don't move until the dog moves, and you move the direction the dog moves at the speed the dog wants. So if the dog wants to run for 30 minutes, you're running for 30 minutes. It helps get you in shape. But the other thing it does is that change of intent of where the human always feels they have to be in charge of everything, and that dog is just beat down constantly with that. And so just to recognize, okay, you show me your universe. I have literally hundreds of stories from the miraculous changes in understanding of both the human and the dog doing this exercise out of those courses I've taught over the years. But the dog is the leader in this case. And if the dog wants to go under a fence and you can't physically go, you simply stop. Now, I've seen dogs actually try to go under something, stop, look back at their human, and then decide to go around to get to that spot. That respect of, oh, I recognize you can't do this. I've seen people cry over stuff like that. I've also seen other dogs go, yeah, I don't care, you're coming, and people get scratched up through brambles and everything else. It tells you that relationship of the dog with you, but they have fun anyway. I've never had someone come back mad at me for making them do this. First of all, I can't make anybody do anything. They're always amazed and what they learn out of their dog, even if their dog simply wanted to jump up in the back of their van and lay down the entire time, the human has to lay down too. And they watch everybody go by, and that's what your dog wanted to do. So, and that's happened too. Lots of things have happened. I've seen dogs that were wanting to literally, the German Shepherd and Malinois going after each other. High-end German Shepherd that wanted to get after every one of them. They had to start literally 100 yards away, but once they started, they were in amongst all the rest of the dogs and everything else, because the dog has the choice. Typically, when a dog is on leash or with humans, they have no choice. And so that's what creates a lot of this reactivity, this frustration, this aggression. And so when the dog has the choice and it's all about survival, the dog goes, yeah, I don't want to do that. Let's do this. Or they go, I want to find out who this really is. And so they go around together and they do stuff, and then they go apart and they find out, and they do it naturally, so that it's pretty amazing. Now, as a single individual with your dog, you can't just go doing that with others that you don't know. So, I would recommend going to a large park or someplace that's a little more private. So by using the same actions, in other words, if the dog sits, you sit down. The dog stands up, you stand up immediately. The dog takes a step, you take a step. And the dog observes you and goes, oh, okay, let me show you. And then you start going. Unfortunately, I don't have time to tell you some of these amazing stories that I've observed over the years with the dogs and the people, but there's some pretty amazing turnabouts. Just incredible, frankly. So you use the same actions as the dog. If the dog lays down, you got to lay down. The second it sits up, you sit up. You don't do it first. It's follow the dog, literally. If the dog wants to smell something, you get down and you sniff it. Okay. Now, you don't have to go all the way down and sniff poo, but you have to act like you're sniffing it. And, we've had a dog that started digging in the ground. So the lady across, she started digging in the ground. Dog dug more. They dug a hole large enough for both of them to get into by the end of it. That's all they did the entire hour, and they had a blast. So whatever the dog wants to do, that's what.
Yeah, maybe I should dig with Sissy, the Energizer Bunny too, a little bit more.
Yeah, or pick a very mellow dog. No, it changes the understanding of the dog and you. It tells you who that dog is, and the dog gets to see that, oh, you actually care what I think and what I want to do. Because humans don't ever care about what the dog wants to do, ever. You think you do, but not really. Not to go do it with them. You're always trying to find something to do with your dog. Like, hey, let's go play. Well, you're determining that, the dog isn't. So, okay, you go the pace of the dog. If the dog wants to walk along, you walk along. If the dog wants to run full speed, you run your full speed until you can't anymore. And then ask the dog to slow down. And guess what? It will be more willing to.
So with that, I have a question. If a dog is really running like crazy and is just on the collar, is there something that you would put on a harness, like a running harness, or not? Just
Not for this exercise.
okay. Even though it's going to run for half an hour until it slows down.
Yeah, I mean, we've had dogs that ran one direction for 30 minutes and then the people go, well, we got an hour to do this. I guess we better go the other direction for 30 minutes to get back. And that's what's happened.
No idea.
That's where they had to influence the dog, but they do it in that moment and then they're running again and the dog's in charge. You don't take over from the dog except for those little minor things, and that's it. Okay. You show interest in what your dog is interested in, and you join the dog in their world. You really find out an awful lot. I would recommend either good running shoes or boots, something like that you can run in if your dog wants to run. And a lot of times what happens when we're in a group like that, you know, we've got 25 dogs and 25 people. That's a lot of moving parts. What happens sometimes, a few will pack up together, they'll go explore, some will break off, others will come pack up, others go off by themselves. You see a lot of the personality and the character of the dog, what's inside of that brain, by doing this exercise. So I would recommend, and again, safety, you know, if it's going around with a dog or something like that isn't part of the group, you just stop, go, no, we're not going over there, and wait for the dog to give you new direction. Okay. So
And
try
with
that.
food?
Please be safe. There's no food.
If my dog finds something that she can eat on the streets and I don't like that she eats something.
You know, you find a dead squirrel, you get the tail, she gets the body. No eating. That's again, if you see it prior to the dog getting there, just stop, look a different direction, wait for her to go a different direction. That's it. Okay. Yeah. Honestly, there are dogs that have found all sorts of dead animals and all sorts of stuff out there, and none of them that I am aware of or that I remember, not one. I mean, we're talking about probably 1,000 people and 1,000 dogs that have gone through the you know, in person. Probably more than that, probably 1,000 trainers with their dogs. I have never heard of a dog eating that dead animal. Now, I have seen dogs, deer pellets, in other words, the poop of deer. There's one dog that just wanted to eat every one of those that it found. So, yeah, stuff happens. But remember, there's the pH level, the acidic level of their stomach is a 2, which is extremely acidic, which means it's not going to get sick from it. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, let me see something here. Okay, that was we actually wrapped that up. How about that? So I'm going to stop share here. Oh. All right, quit that. That's what's wrong. I have to escape that. There we go. Okay. Okay, now let's do, what can I help you guys with? Marilyn already asked the question about transitions. Transitions are everything. This is something that we work on through classes for years, and it's something that I've begun focusing on more. I didn't explain this in years past. I am explaining it now. Anything that transitions from one state to another is a decision point. Any way that you can think of, wind to no wind to wind, a sound difference, the movement of something versus, and what I mean by that is even if it's already in movement, a change of speed, a change of direction. You saw it in yourself when you changed direction, you got that dog's attention immediately. That's a decision point. So being aware that each thing that is out of that static state, okay, when it changes, that's an attention point and it's a decision point for the dog and for you. And so you can use those things. First of all, you got to recognize it. What changes for the dog? If you're focused on how that dog sees the universe and you see how it begins to recognize what transitions, it tells you how to reach that dog. What's going to reach it easier. Because if you're just flailing around trying to find out what is interesting to that dog or trying to relate to it, play a little harder to get. Okay. And observe the dog and see how it reacts to transitions, indoor to outdoor, this side of that room to this side of that room. The center of a room, it's a scary place if there's others in it. So center of a room versus an edge of something or against something. That's why you see, in did any of you guys come to the lost dog recovery? No. Okay. Man. I've only taught that once because every time I've offered it, one or two will sign up and I can't do it for one or two. It's an extremely important because it teaches you not just how to recover a lost dog, one that's out there somewhere, but it teaches you how a dog thinks in a semi-feral environment, which is how they go into mindset. And part of that is how they see the environment, open space versus closed space versus edges, territorial boundaries, all of that stuff. And moving back and forth between those environments too. That's what I enjoyed mostly teaching and showing how on maps, urban environment, suburban, exurban, rural, how dogs behave differently in those different environments. And we mapped that all out. I had huge maps that I overlaid. I marked stuff and I showed zones of where dogs would avoid and other areas that would be their corridors, which humans don't think about because our corridors are streets and sidewalks and dogs avoid those. They go to different places, streams and railroad tracks and stuff like that people aren't around. So anyway, so transitions, I don't have enough time. I could probably spend 5-6 days on teaching a class on nothing but what transition is and how dogs make decisions and what that tells you about them, and how they see the universe, and then how to reach that dog and then make corrections in its behavior, if you will. But everything that is from a static state, which means even movement, if you stop, that's a transition. It's a transition. It's a decision point, but it's also a contrast. And so beginning to understand transitions, what that is and how decisions have to be made, you also begin seeing how contrast becomes clarity because it's communication as well. So how you do things and how you use your body, your signals, all those things, that becomes a transition point that a dog has to address. What you are saying and how you're doing it is the important part. That's the communication part. Okay. Does that help, Marilyn? Like I said, I can't list.
It's
I could list
good. I was asking about
everything.
threshold, but I'm assuming it's the same
That's
transition
what it is.
threshold.
Threshold is
I got it.
a
What you gave me
transition.
was good, Nelson.
Yeah. I
Sorry,
was due.
thanks.
Yeah, I was due to do something right.
Nelson, I just had a quick question on the last sort of exercise you gave us last week, which was teach the dog something you've never taught it to do before in its own language. And so before I go ahead and muff this, I actually wanted to run by you what I was thinking of doing, which is if I have the dogs in a downstay working on developing a hand signal that would release them. Is that along the lines of what you're talking about, or were you talking something different?
If you've never taught your dog a release before, yes.
They know the verbal release, but not a hand release.
Not exactly what I meant.
Okay, that's why I'm asking you then. Could you give me an example?
So, yeah, something that is, it doesn't have to be difficult, but something you've never taught them before. In other words, a behavior, an action, or a request. If you've never asked your dog, a simple one, if you've never asked your dog to jump up on top of a park bench before.
Okay, I get what you're saying now.
Okay, that's a simple one, obviously, but then you can do something. Okay, well, jump up on top of this park bench. Now come to this edge and stop. Now turn around before jumping off, because most dogs, when they go up, they just want to jump off then, right?
Right.
Getting up is tactical, strategic, and it gives you potential view of long distance, but you don't want to stay up there because you make a great silhouette against the sky, which you don't want to be. Because then you become a target, or you become known to your prey as well. So jumping up on something is an important part of survival, to look around and potentially to show ownership as well to others. And so you go up, or tactical, I'm above you, all of the meanings behind that. Jumping up and then moving along it. A dog I've always said this, a dog in movement is a happy dog. A dog in movement and using its nose is a very happy dog. Because movement tells you you're alive in the first place. It's the first behavior, it's the first action of an animal to say, I'm alive. Movement. And so that in itself is a reward. So I reward my dogs a lot of times simply by moving together. Let's go. And they go, oh boy. That's a reward, guys. So asking a dog up on top of something and then asking them to move to an edge, and rather than jump off, stop, let's turn around, let's go back this way. Okay, let's go over the other side, or let's go off a different way than you've ever done before. That's a more complex thing that you can do from the standpoint of teaching it something new. Okay. That help?
That's why I asked. I knew I was going to muff it, so thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
Nelson,
I mean,
how many?
so it's a challenge. So when I say doing that, that's an exercise, but it's a challenge for you to begin to learn how to use language to teach, reach, and connect with your dog in a different way. And that way you can use that method, which is RDBM, or relationship-based training, to start teaching and training your dog in everything. That's the point. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, Stacy.
How many people do you need for lost dogs or for leash handling? And then are you going to be able to, are you feeling like you're going to be moving around, or are you trying to stay at the center? Can you give me more insight into that?
Lost dog has to be done at the center. I've got so much equipment. I've got a drone that I use to show how to use a drone, what it's for. I mean, there's no way I can go to someplace else.
Okay.
And probably 7 or 8 people would be, I might do it for 5 people if they really want to learn, but you know, it would be better. 7, 8 people is a good group. And that's what we had last time was, I think, 8 people. It was a good group. We could move around in 2 vehicles because we also have to go look at the different environments that I teach people about to say, okay, we're going out now. Okay, we've got a lost dog in this type of area. So I want you to see how to look primary, secondary, tertiary, in importance, as well as going through once, twice, 3 times to look for that dog. And it gives you an entirely different perspective on urban, suburban, what out in the country, all the places there are for a dog to hide, to, you know, because you're looking over massive areas for something small that can move and that can, you know, be behind a little tiny shrub on the side of a wall that you passed by and you didn't even notice because you couldn't see the dog. So how do we get around that? You know, how do we become successful? So yeah. Thanks for asking. Leash handling, that's kind of its own course. And if I have to travel, which I do with that one, the leash handling, and now in one case, I've added I'm doing it here because I've added that 3rd day for long line course. So that's kind of a full course. It has to be, you know, 15, 20, 25 people to make it worth it, especially to, you know, 20 at the minimum to travel because all of the time, expense, everything else with traveling. And I don't have that many dates left. You know, you want to see my calendar? That's it. It's full, guys. And that's for 2022. It's the same for 2023. I don't have that many weekends and days and stuff. I'm trying to focus on what is important and what is also what people are responding to. What I think they need, what I know they need, they don't think they need is the problem. They don't understand the subject matter like lost dog. Lost dog is so important, not because you lose dogs all the time, which if you have dogs at some point, dog's going to run out and get lost. So understanding how to organize, how to do, you know, a search, how to do social media and all these other things, of the connections that you have prior to. Anybody who's dealing with a rescue group should know this stuff, because you're going to have, you know, that rescue dog that went into that foster home run out the door the first day or something, and now you've got the whole group looking, and it's total chaos. It's like watching 3-year-olds play soccer. You know, nobody plays their part. They just all go to the ball, and it's just this constantly. And that's what happens when you don't know what you're doing. So.
And how many days was the lost dog one? How many days was your course?
It's 4 days. No, it's 3 days. It's 3 days. Yeah. 3, not 4.
Have you, I'm just asking the question just because I don't live by you, obviously, so I travel to you. And so have you thought about just maybe seeing if you could tack it on to some of these 3s and 4s that some people would be more willing to stay? Because I would, like, if you tack it on to 4 next year, I would be one that would sign up. So I'm just asking the question if you would think about opening them up. Maybe you have to close them all because nobody will do it, but
I've tried that in the past. The problem is that for certain subject matters, I've found over the years that they'll spend a 3 or 4 day weekend and that's it. They don't want to stay longer than that because it costs them more than the cost to travel because of the business loss too, is the way I'm seeing it.
Okay.
They don't want to be away from their facility, their family, all these other things, because it puts the responsibility of someone else handling what they do. And which is why I've kind of just cut back. Well, you're either here for a week and suck it up, you get over it, or, you know, it's a 3-day or maybe 4-day thing. And that's I've tried a couple things together, and it never got the response level that was necessary. So yeah, I mean,
it's
the market
also a
tells
lot
me
of,
what I need.
it's a
Go
lot
ahead.
of information. Rosemary, my assistant that stayed for the leash handling seminar after RBM1, she wants to take it again because she's like, my brain was so fried from the first course that she couldn't absorb
Sure.
the next 3 days. Which my next question for you is, are you potentially going to do the leash handling in the fall still? You had it set in the fall and you moved it to spring, and we both want to do it, but we cannot do the spring one.
Yeah, the problem with in-person working with a dog is it's either got to be spring or fall, because summer in Texas, you don't want to be outdoors. Winter in Texas, nobody wants to come. You know, everybody thinks it's, you know, 50 below and 5 feet of snow like where they're at, instead of 70 degrees like we have every other day. Now we do have cold weather every once in a while, but I don't even remember. You know,
I think it was in October originally that you were suggesting doing it, and then you moved it to like the end of April or May. So we're both interested. That's just going to be super difficult for us. So we would be interested in another one. Just throwing that out there.
was that for next year or this year? I can't even remember. I don't have it on my calendar here.
That was
not-
for this year. When you originally asked about would
Okay.
people be interested in the leash handling and the long line together, it was in fall. And then when you started getting all the responses and you scheduled it in spring.
The heck you say?
I'm
Oh,
pretty,
here it
I
is.
might be
Here it is.
going
Okay.
crazy. It's possible.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I
April
found it.
30th.
Yeah, it was.
April
it's
30th.
overlaid. It's overlaid on another online course, which is why I was missing it. So I apologize. Yeah, it's April 30th, May 1st, May 2nd. The long line is May 2nd. That's the, yeah, that's the quote unquote new one that I'll try to teach people how to use a long line and what you can actually gain from using it and understand about the dog. It's about reaching the dog in an entirely different way than I'm saying how people use it. So yeah, that is going to happen, but that's here. I already have, let's see, I think I already have a few people signing up for it. Yeah, it's gonna happen there because I've got zero time in the fall to do this. And the problem with fall, especially, you know, since I teach course 6s, and then, I mean, that's 2 weeks each right there, times 2. And then you've got holidays, end of November. October itself is here in North Texas is a transition time of weather. And that's just a crapshoot, whether we have sleet and snow or 80 degrees. That's our problem here.
Or both in the same day.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Yeah, it has dropped 70 degrees in one day in 30 minutes.
So it looks like you have the art of leash handling December 5th as well, but it looks like it's at Courtney's place.
That is the 1 day thing, or is it 2 days? Yeah, it's 2 days. Yeah.
2 days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. That's right after the RBBM. We just go into the art of leash handling like we did this past year, past December. Yeah, and I'm not doing anything up in Seattle. Actually, I'm asking if Kinsey wants to do it. She's quite capable of teaching RBBM at this point, so she's going to be doing that. I'm asking Valerie to do that in New York if she wants to do that. Angela is quite capable in the DC area, so yeah. And Robin, you and Tom, I got to talk to. You and I are going to talk shortly here, a lot for 2 weeks. Because Robin's my next course 6 person. So I saw that big gulp, that big swallow. It'll be good. It's a lot less. It's a lot less external stress from me than you will put on yourself. I'll put it that way.
I'm not scared.
You should be. No,
I'm ready.
I'm kidding. I know you are. And it's not bad. It's a lot of learning. It's not the classroom type learning that we do. It's a lot of observation, action, stuff like that. So yeah. Okay. You got it. I know you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be coming.
Can't wait.
So course 6, guys, just so you know, is actually by invitation only, because that's kind of up to that begins. The way I look at it is course 5 is like earning your first degree black belt. First degree black belts in my system takes about 15 years, 10 to 15, about 8 years on average. Sorry, 8 years. Third degree, you are considered at that point sensei, meaning an instructor. And third degree takes about an average of 15 years before you get to that. Course 6 is third degree. You're considered an instructor, not because you're going to go out and teach, but because now you know enough to start thinking about how to instruct. That's what it's about. So now you're learning as an instructor to be an instructor. Got it? It's not a certification to go out and teach. It's now I need to know how to. I've got this level of base information and I can do this. Now, how do I teach? And that's what you're observing from that standpoint is how do we do this? So that's really what course 6 is about. Okay. There will be a course 7, by the way.
Good.
So, okay. Questions? I started a little late, so we'll go a little in. Comments, questions?
So how are we staying in contact? Or like, how do we fill the Telegram group that we are in? What is the purpose of it? Or how was it handled with the previous online classes?
The Telegram stays up. These videos stay up for at least a year. So you guys can go back and refer to them. I don't have unlimited space. I pay for the space on the videos to keep them and for the course stuff. So it stays up until I run out of space. So far it's been a little over a year for the first course that I did. And so I'll try to keep them. I've got to figure out how to transfer them to a different format, basically a storage for us to use, but that wouldn't be available online to that class then. So try to keep these up at least a year. And Telegram, we just leave that group going so you guys can communicate to each other, and they still do from the first class to over a year ago. So I certainly encourage that. Okay.
So, if we post there a short video or something, would you give some comment on it too, or?
Yeah, I want to kind of like the RBBM Facebook page. A lot of times I don't comment because I want everybody else to comment first. Because if I always comment first, then everybody's waiting for me for the answer. I want you guys to think about it and give your answers, because a lot of times you put it a different way that I wouldn't, and people get it. So, yeah, so it's a participation thing. And yeah, if I need to input or you ask me directly, then I will get to it, but I'd rather hear from you guys.
Is everybody allowed to be part of that group? Because I agree with you about that.
All of you guys, yeah.
Okay,
Not the
great.
world, just you guys.
I don't know what that group is, but I'll find it.
On Telegram?
Oh, on Telegram, I thought you were talking about Facebook.
No. Oh,
Okay, great.
You're talking
You don't.
RBBM, yes. Any of you guys are welcome to be, if you're on Facebook and you want to be part of RBBM, we have to be personal friends. I don't know why it works this way, but we have to be personal friends on Facebook for me to add you to RBBM. There's probably 450 or so members. All of them have been through RBBM. There's some of the best trainers in the world on it. There's all sorts of people, and I try to keep it active, so I post stuff, but I don't want it to be just me posting. It's for you guys, and it's a really good group because everybody on earth that is in it knows who I am, and they know I can hunt them down anywhere on earth and eliminate them if they start trying to get after somebody else. I don't allow that crap. Okay, so everybody's very nice to each other, and there's no arguments. There's good information. So, okay. Yep. Any other questions, comments, etc.? Okay, I have thoroughly enjoyed this group, probably more so maybe just because I keep doing this, and I hope I'm getting better. But I really want to thank you guys. Personally, I'm honored that you would want to spend a part of your life, what you have, with me and learn. I can't say enough about that. I'm truly honored. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys, and I consider you all family. So you're family now.
Nelson, I just want to say thank you. And this Post-it note now lives like on my monitors. So I look at it every day. Intent over emotion.
Okay.
So this has been life-changing. You have profoundly impacted my life. Thank you so much. And this group has been great for letting me be so vulnerable, and so much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, guys. Till next time. Okay. Till next time.
Everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.